Welcome to Serial Podcast 9.
I'm Gerard Peralta from SerialNine.
And I'm Kevin Peterson from SerialNine.
And I'm Ryan Benoit from Dodo Logic. And this is Serial Podcast 9. I feel like we're drastically unprepared for tonight's episode, so we're just going to roll the dice.
We're winging it.
Yeah, we're just fully going for it. But before we do, very important, a listener reached out to me personally. It was my mother-in-law, and she asked a few questions that we could talk about. And I was like, all right, some of these are good, and some of them, like, I don't think we could answer without having a guest on. But the one that she did ask, and I thought each of us might have insight into it. Essentially, how do you take a good picture of a car? Like, why is it that when she tries, if she were to take a picture of a car to send it to me, it always looks like garbage. But when we do it, they don't. So,
I mean, maybe when you do it. I mean, I think I can maybe take like a mediocre photo of a car, but definitely nothing.
You guys both can create engaging content. Like, you both do this. Like, you take photos of things. I'm like, sick. Like, people see it and they're engaged with what you're doing. So
yeah, I think just because hopefully because the content is just so sick. Like, I can't take a good photo of my car. You know, we talked about that previously.
So I guess I'll just say the easiest thing for anyone is that probably one, take pictures of cool cars. No. The first things first is most people hold their camera up and then take it down from an angle, and taking a photo of a car from that perspective is rarely a great shot. That's why you always see like car dudes squat to take a photo of their car. So that's just like beginners shit 101 is like perspective. And then you can go into other things. It's like composition. Should the wheel be slightly turned and rules of thirds?
The wheel should not be slightly turned.
Yeah, I never liked the slightly turned wheel either.
I love the slightly turned wheel. Only in one.
That hides the fitment.
Also, to me, like a slightly turned wheel looks embellished. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, you know, when people pose for photos and it looks so fucking like deliberate, you know, like the, you know, like, hey, put the car here, turn the wheel a little bit, smile, and fucking cheese, click. You know what I mean? It's like, no, like take a photo of the car in its element doing its thing, and it's sweet.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You like a candid shot, like you're not trying, but you're fucking cool. I get it. I feel
like it's like the car's doing a little like curtsy when you turn the wheel like
it's
that.
A bit,
you know, it's like.
It's like those old 90s cartoons whenever they drew like hip hop kids, and they would always have like their baggy jeans and the one foot like slightly more forward. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Perspective wise, it was always going up. It's like that. Look, I don't think it's like you always turn the wheel. There is an angle where I'm like, you turn the wheel, and then there's another angle where you don't turn the wheel. That's how I feel about it.
Ain't nobody park with their wheel turned unless you ripped into a parking spot and like jumped out because you're like late. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I see. You love the reality of it all.
What if you parallel parked on a hill in your 6-speed Celsius and you don't have an e-brake, so you have to turn the wheel so that if it rolls back, you know, it hits the curb and the car doesn't.
Well, you have to pull out your spare steering wheel hub, and put it in front of the rear wheel so it doesn't roll away like I used to do in my Aristo.
I just use a piece of wood that I use as a wheel chock.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
this all sounds real fancy, you guys. Real big time. I don't know what other advice. I mean, like, if you're just a regular person taking a picture, she also did like ask like what it takes to even like start off to get involved in any of this. And I do feel like we kind of covered that, but it's almost like I feel like Kevin kind of covered it once, and it kind of said like, if you're in it, you're kind of in it. You don't just like, I don't know if you just wake up one day in your mid-20s or 30s or 40s and you're like, I should be into drifting now. Like, we're like, I should be in, like, maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, I feel like there's some people who probably are like that, where like maybe they didn't really know about it, and you know, for the last 20 years, and or maybe
it's like when people get into meth or coke or whatever, they're like, oh, I never tried it, it's so good. But like, maybe somebody's never drifted a car. So
Right.
they get a ride in a drift car and they're just like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. I don't ever want to stop doing this.
Or maybe they wanted to do it the whole time. They just didn't have the means, and now they're in a place where they do or something.
Yeah. She kind of said, like, what do you need to know when you go to an event? Which I was like,
You need to know the photographers.
I don't know. I think that's a pretty that's an excellent question, I think.
like for a first
Yeah, like, what
timer.
should you bring to a drift event?
Like for a first timer, like what do you need to know like going to your first drift event?
But like like she's not drifting. Like I think she
I know.
as like
You don't think she wants to? You don't
well, I don't think
your
she's
mom-
gonna take her Lexus RX out and like slide it around.
Well, what about the Aristo? She can take your car out.
I guess she could. That'd be great.
I'll teach your mother-in-law. Gerard will teach you. We'll see who can improve more throughout the course of the day.
And then whoever wins gets the car.
Exactly.
Okay, but I think so. If you're going to your first drift event just as a spectator, is there anything you need to know?
I don't know. Just don't be screaming the whole time like an idiot. I don't know.
Don't take the spare wrecked tires home as souvenirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one.
Don't drink too many energy drinks. They may be free, but don't. It's a trap. Yeah.
Blow your nose frequently.
Yeah.
What? Oh, because the black. Yeah.
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 All right. What were you
I
gonna
try
say?
not to eat at the event unless there's somehow good food there, because usually it's crappy track food.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's a good thing. Yeah, if you maybe bring some food with you, because most times the drift event does not have the concession.
What's the best food you've ever had at a track?
Wasn't it at Grange? They had like some gourmet ass burgers. Honestly, I like the track burgers at Mission. They're not good, but they're like, what's the word? Familiar.
The at Villains has a pretty good like trackside food. Yeah, they have these huge like breakfast sausage patties they're like massive. I've never seen them so big. Like when I went up there, I ordered like 3, and she's like, "You want 3 sausages?" I was like, "Yeah, that seems like kind of like normal for breakfast, And then she was like, "Okay," and then she gives them to me, and I'm just like, "Holy shit!" And she's like, "Yeah, that's why I wondered why you ordered 3," and I'm like, "All right, like."
Guess I'm eating all day.
Yeah, exactly.
I usually don't even eat when I'm at doing the track. If I'm like out in the field, I don't eat till the end of the day.
That's healthy.
It's not the best, but it's how I do it, you guys.
I mean, I guess honestly, all the track food times, yeah, it's like where you're there for more than one day.
I feel like Formula D usually sometimes had good food trucks there, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. Never.
I want to
I
say
remember
like
we'd always like
DUI.
we'd like leave and go get tacos at Formula D.
DUI, bring your own barbecue and your whole marinated chicken setup and peppers and roasted potatoes and have a gourmet meal in the tent.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that. I brought Alex Lee and Spencer Hogg like some like delicious like homemade food stuff, and I bought a brand new like hibachi, and it was pretty funny.
Jesus. Okay, well that's good. Yeah, I don't know what the best event food I've ever had. I don't know.
Yo, you know what it was? It was that acai bowl in in Wheeling.
No, I was gonna say King Taco in Irwindale, man.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
that was good. That was super good too.
Yeah, because they had those like crazy dark. I don't know if they're carnitas or not carnitas. Someone with the pineapple. Anyways, I don't know, man. That shit was pretty good. They had those like fried. I don't even remember. It was so long ago, but I just remember King Taco Irwindale was like bomb.
I think it is a chain.
But they're definitely pretty decent for the track. They weren't burgers.
I imagine LA would have, like Irwindale would probably have pretty decent track food. And then you said Grange, like that makes sense.
Grange had like gourmet burgers.
I don't remember Grange at all.
Yeah, they were like expensive, and they had like, I swear they had like arugula and stuff on the burger. It was like pretty wild.
Arugula's gourmet.
Well, like for a burger at a track, I would probably say that compared to like iceberg, a slab of iceberg,
I'm not ever mad at a slab of iceberg lettuce on a burger. Just
Really?
saying.
Really?
I don't know. There's something there's something familiar about it, you guys. Yeah,
spring mix is my preferred choice for
never kale.
Only if it's a panini though. But like, yeah, if I'm putting it on on a hoagie bun, yeah, then shredded lettuce.
So now let's get to the meat and potatoes of the episode. I don't know how much this has for legs, but we'll try.
I thought that was the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, that was my pun that we were talking about food.
Honestly, like what we should do is like next year for Mother's Day, we should just ask our moms questions, or we should have our moms.
It would be really funny. I would love to have Gerard's mom on an episode of Serial Podcast 9.
That would be pretty funny, man.
All right. The question, and we this came up in a prior episode, and actually, off the cuff, Kevin was kind of like, that could be a full episode. I don't really know how to phrase it, you guys. It's
The regrets.
It's like not even regrets though. It's like the could have beens, like the should have been.
They're like choose your own adventure, but and
it's like where would you be? And so it's a giant hypothetical. So it was like you're faced with this choice. But the other thing that I really want to get into is like also based on what you know now is kind of like, would you almost make that same choice? This sounds a lot like the fads episode, but I don't want it. It's not going to be that. It's more or less like a good question would be, if you knew what you knew right now, we're 16 and it was like the year and the prices of all the cars and how everything's developed, what would you choose to be your first car?
I don't know if I would have chosen anything different, but I just wouldn't have got rid of anything. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's just it, right? Like everything would be worth a ton now.
Right.
But I mean, man, in like 1989, like I could have had the Cressida that I had in whatever it was, like 2009, like with the 1J R154 5-lug converted X7. Like you could fully have had that car 3 years after it came out if you knew every single thing on how to do it, and had the money to,
Oh, you mean like in like 1990, you could have built that 5-lug X7?
Yeah, because
that
all of that
wild, dude.
That's what I mean. All of that stuff was available. I mean, also in 1990, I'm 4 years old though, so like, like it's not.
That'd be a little.
It's kind of a moot point, but I kind of remember thinking about that when we built this car. We're like, yeah, like none of this stuff, wasn't really around, or it was around back then. So like, that's kind of like a cool thing to think about. That like, yeah, if you had that knowledge, you could have done that. And like,
right. You could have done but that's the thing. It's like, had you known also what you know now when you were like 16, like how much did you buy your 8.6 for when you bought it?
$2,500.
Yeah, I think mine was also like $2,200.
Yeah, like I spent probably like $6,000 on a Mazda MX-3 at the time. Like that's really dumb. Like if you think now, right? Like
but I mean, also, if you were like a normal ass person, you'd be like, hey, I'm buying this. Like, what year was the Mazda 3?
90. It was a 92.
Yeah. So now you're going to tell someone you're buying an 86 Toyota Corolla?
Yeah.
That's like, okay, like, sweet.
That's one of those things, though, where you would have been like, if you knew now, you'd be like, just hold on, wait a little bit. I'm about to blow this shit up. I'm going to be real famous in 20 years.
But that's the other thing. It's like, you're going to hold on to like every car you've ever owned for 20 years to the point where
Gerard
now,
just said that he would.
I mean, I would want to too. Like, of course.
Also, you guys are fully just holding on to every car except for the Aristo. You guys both dislike Aristos so much you've found ways to get rid of them.
That was a super forced laugh.
Me?
Yeah. Cue laugh.
I'm trying to see what my cars are worth back. Like my cars. Holy shit! Oh, that's expensive. I mean, they're no like GTR prices for sure.
Right.
But I mean, they're definitely like pretty expensive. So my Cortina, I had a 1969 Ford Cortina wagon. It wasn't a Lotus or anything. But I mean, I feel like any Cortina at this point would probably be worth some money. This one says $10,000. So I mean, that's like kind of average. It's not a special car. A Lotus apparently is only $22,000. So that's not even expensive. That's nothing compared to a Japanese car. But my Capri apparently, so I had a 1972 Capri 2.6 RS. Says like 16,000 pounds. So that's like not bad. But I mean, that's still like not that much money. You know what I mean? But I mean, that would have been a cool car to hang on to because that was like an original classic car and I didn't do anything to it. Whereas the Cortina, I basically SerialNine it instantly. I put a different engine in it and moved the gas tank and like put your defenders and like put Datsun seats in it and like everything. Like it didn't matter if it was a Cortina or a Celica or a fucking Datsun 710. It was just a shell that carried an engine that had some cool stuff on it. Could have been any car.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of miss my TEs, both TEs. Like
Yeah.
I just really like something about those cars. I like the size and the simplicity but yeah, I mean, I got rid of both of them, so must say something. I don't know.
Would you ever go back to it?
I mean, I think I would because
Holy
I remember
shit. Pinto's worth more than all of them. Go on.
Gerard's
Go
on
on.
his own.
uh
we were about to have a breakthrough with Kevin, and
no, I can't even remember what I was talking about anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I was just
would you have another one of your TEs?
I think I would now because I could just have it as a car that I could drive when I wanted to drive that car.
Also,
It doesn't have to be the car,
Also, maybe can you break that down a bit more for people that maybe don't know what type of car you're talking about?
It's a car from 1979 or through to 82, I believe. It's all manual windows. There's no intermittent wiper. The wiper's low or high or off. That's like you leave the lights on, they stay on. There's no buzzer. There's no automatic off. It's all manual windows. Like maybe your rear defroster works. Some of them have a side mirror on the right. Some of them don't.
So it's a Toyota Corolla, I guess.
Yeah.
You really went through the features list.
Yeah, he was just trying to say like what kind of car was it?
Yeah, I was like, because I think some people might be like TE, like Kevin used
okay,
to have a set of like.
I thought you meant like you're like like that kind of car. What does that kind of car mean? And I'm like that's what that kind of car means.
I'm breaking
It's
it down for people that are like not up on the lingo of like Paul Harrison drives a TE with a Beams engine in it, right? Like that's it's a Corolla.
Yeah, that is true. I should be more specific. I'm talking about the TE 72, the 79 through 82 Toyota Corolla.
We just went full insider baseball on Corollas. But that's another car, right? Like if you think so, it's probably gone up a decent amount in price. Had you bought it when you were a teenager, it'd probably been like how much money, And that, I guess.
I mean, I bought one as a late teenager.
How much was that?
I mean, maybe it was $250.
Woof.
Yeah, and then the wagon one that I bought years later, admittedly from a junkyard, was $800. So they were always much cheaper than the A86 because they didn't hold. There's no anime about that car, but basically has the same underpinnings, and you can put all the A86 running gear on it. They were really cool, and it also has, instead of a 1.6 liter, it has a 1.8 liter carbureted hemispherical head. Yeah, it's just a sick little car. So
maybe you wish you would have, but you sold two of them, so you don't really wish you would have held on to it, or?
That's what I mean. I don't know. That $250 one I sold for a hefty profit, and I think selling the wagon allowed me to do something at the. There's always a reason you had to sell the thing. That's the problem. And also like space. Space is always a premium for us,
right?
In the Lower Mainland.
12 cars between the two of you, I feel like.
But I mean, I don't know. If we lived in like Texas or like Florida or like, I don't know, Saskatchewan, I feel like you would just have enough space to have 40 cars.
Got room have for your boat and your Sea-Doo and your snowmobile and then a truck to tow and your trailer.
That's true.
I mean, like space is fine. Like, yes, you would have it outside of the city. Like you would have it outside of the city. So you don't have any other like, oh, I wish I would have zigged when I zagged. I mean, like, I know that.
I mean, yeah, okay. So there's a lot of things. So when I was young and I was building cars and my friends were building cars, I always liked, I mean, I still do it to this day. Honestly, it's kind of weird. Like I like certain cars and I like go and test drive them and I research them and I think they're sick. And then I go and buy like a totally fucking different car. So like I was super into Corollas and I went and looked at like, cause there was all these, like I said, ex-Westwood race cars. And I remember looking at this 72 Corolla. It was a Mango. I had an 18, I had 2 TG in it. So that was like the JDM, twin cam. And it was a Westwood race car. So it had like all these custom, widened steelies and flares and like fucking racing seats. And it was sick, man. And it was actually only like $3,500. So then I just bought a Volvo instead because I don't know. I wanted something to be different. Oh no, sorry. I didn't buy, I had the Volvo at the time. I bought a Cortina, which was, I was looking at all these cars and I was like, okay, this is sick. And then I saw this car and I was like, what the fuck is a Cortina? And I'm like, oh, it's a wagon. Like, what the fuck is this thing? It looks sick. And I was like, you know what? And I did all this research on the British Ford engines and, whatever, all this stuff. And I was like, shit, I could be totally sick. Like, yeah, I'm going to be totally different. And I'm just going to like you said, zig when I should have zagged and bought the Corolla. And I was like, oh, I'm going to build this Cortina with like this 2-liter Westwood Pinto race engine and like all this other crap. Nobody had ever done this. And, obviously there was no like parts you could buy. So basically make it the absolute hardest thing possible. The only easy part was that I just bought the engine out of a Westwood race car. So that was like literally the only easy part.
That's pretty great. So
Yeah,
you could have had like and then I wonder, like obviously there's all these the point at the end of this episode is like, well, all the choices you make lead you to where you are now. And like hypothetically, if you bought the Corolla, you'd be in a different place, Yeah,
there was a bunch of Corollas, like I said, even like Kevin's talking about TEs. So this funny story was, I was really into Volvos as a kid. And so I was, had met up with this guy at this shop and I was building this, like, there was this ex-Westwood race. Well, there was this car that was being built for Westwood and then it closed down. So this was kind of like a money is no object, IPD Sweden build from like this really rich, like Iranian guy who basically was just like obsessed with cars and looked through all this money at this like 140 race car. Had like an ATL fuel cell, full cage, widened fenders, like all these obsolete part or like these really obscure parts from like Sweden. And I was supposed to get this car and it was like the best thing since sliced bread, whatever. And then I don't even remember where I was going with this story. Oh yeah. So as I was basically like working towards getting this car with this guy who was basically like a fucking con artist, I had looked at or talked to this dude about a TE that was basically, so this dude came from Japan, built this TE with all these like rare Japanese TRD parts and all this shit, and then had to go back to Japan and needed to sell this car by this certain time. And it was $4,500 and it was like out of my price range at the time. But I just didn't go look at it because I had, $3,000 or something. And I was like, well, man, fuck, this guy's like not going to sell it for $3,000. But it was like crazy. It had like all this suspension and a half cage and like a built 2 TG or whatever. I don't know. It was fucking crazy. And then I see the car at the gas station like a week later. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's that car that was in the paper. It had really sick, like widened chrome wheels and it looked rad. And the guy's like, yeah, man, like, fuck, I just bought this thing for $2,500. Could you believe it? The guy had to go to Japan, had to go back to Japan and like, he couldn't sell it. So I was like, yo, I'll just give you like $2,500. And he was like, okay. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I didn't go look at this car and I could have had like basically the sickest Corolla at the time. Like, yeah. So yeah, that was my zig when I should have zagged, or I could have been, I could have had like a car that actually was sick and ran, because when we were young, I never had a car that ran. I always had like quote unquote the sickest car, but all my friends were driving their cars because I was too busy building it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So I that's why now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck like what's on the car. I'm just gonna drive it. Like if it's half done or like doesn't have 600 horsepower, I just want to drive it.
Yes, that's how you get to where you are now. That's the lesson you learned as a kid. Kevin, the original example that set this off was Matt, who was on the motorcycles episode, went to go look at an H6 and you went to go look at an S chassis. And you said, imagine what would have happened. What would have happened? I just want you to use your imagination. What do you think would have happened if you bought an S chassis?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my drift career would have gone further. Who knows? Or yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd be into Nissans. Maybe be super into Nissans right now.
You wouldn't have Serial 9.
Yeah, probably not.
You just be like, why the fuck would you try to build that sedan?
I mean, Matt got into Serial 9 despite having the 240.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
also
true.
I had an S13 and here we are. Like,
Yeah.
I think it isn't actually the biggest jump. Probably Gerard having like running cars when he was a kid would probably have more of an impact on the butterfly effect of this.
Well, the funny thing was, I would always have a daily. So like I had this crazy project car, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna buy this Pinto as a daily because it's like kind of sick too. And then back then, all those Mustang 2 parts existed at the hot rod shop. So then, of course, on the daily, you got to like do the big brakes and do the bushings and do the 5-lug swap and do all this stuff. And then I was like, man, this fucking car is way better than like any of my friends' cars and this fucking project car that I've like never driven, or I just drive around the block with no insurance and do burnouts. And like that's the extent of my driving of my project car.
I also remember like having my Corolla because I just didn't have any space for multiple cars. Like I had to, I had to only have the one car. So that was like the car, and I had to, anything you got done basically had to be done right away so you could like drive the car to work and that sort of stuff. And I couldn't really fathom people who had a daily. And then eventually I got to that point where I had a daily. I mean, it's like what does that really mean? It spent $400 on buying a car, and you just insure that instead of the project car. Like
the thing with the daily though is because you spend a lot of time in the car, so like it becomes familiar, and you get memories in it, and like you have experiences in it, and like like the project car is cool on paper. It's like having a really nice piece of jewelry in a safe in your house. You never fucking wear the thing, so like who cares? You know what I mean? You maybe have like some shitty watch that you wear, and it's just always with you because it's cool. And like that's why like now it's like the daily's the shit, man. Like the race car is cool and everything, but like if we didn't have this Vancouver bullshit, like I'd just have like the craziest daily. Like I mean, I think that's a pretty common thing, but like
yeah, you just daily the race car.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm old enough now that like I maybe don't want a daily race car, but like the daily has to be a certain level of something, right?
Yeah, my race car is barely 400 horsepower and has carpet and no cage. So
yeah, exactly.
No, it's not even really a race car.
Yeah.
But if I were to ask you, what do you drive? What's your answer?
Me or Kevin?
Kevin. It's like, hey, Kevin, what do you drive? Like, I'm a car guy. I just met you. You're like, oh, dope. I've never heard of Kevin at Kevin_SerialNine. What do you tell me you drive? Like, hey.
I would tell you I have an Altezza. Like,
yeah, that's
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you I have an Echo. You're not gonna care about that, even though that's what I'm driving currently.
Yeah. No, I think that's the funny thing about dailies is like, and I get shit for it. It's like, oh, this is what I was like. People are like, well, what do you drive? I'm like, well, I drive an Aristo. It's like, I drive an Aristo? No, but I own it. And that's your jewelry point, though, Gerard. It's like, it still carries weight in a conversation to say, like, well, this is what I like. Oh, I might say now I daily a 4Runner, but when I like daily the Corolla, like a 2000 Corolla, I didn't tell people, oh, I drive a Corolla. I was like, no, I own the car you lead with, like the best foot forward is always the Aristo. And that's so many car dudes, though. So many car dudes will never tell you, like, yeah, I just like drive a Civic every day, but I got like a Mustang that I'm building. It's like they tell me about the Mustang. They don't tell me about the Civic they drive every day.
Yeah, I guess throughout my life, there's been very few years that I've just had like a shitty daily. Like I've kind of always had like, I guess in my opinion, it's important to have something that is actually enjoyable as a daily. Like I would never drive an Echo as a daily. I would never drive I mean, I guess I did drive a Camry as a daily, but I didn't buy the fucking thing. It was like my mom's car that like maybe I didn't have a car at the time and I happened to drive the Camry every day. But like, I'm not spending my hard-earned money on a fucking Camry. You know what I mean? Like,
whoa. I think the one thing that we've all agreed on this podcast is to never shit talk Camrys.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
love
I don't.
Camrys. I'm
I
just
don't know what you're
saying.
talking about. And you don't. The beauty of the Camry is it's not hard earned money. You know, it's
Oh, yeah.
It's
Money's
$700. It's $700.
It's still $700 that you could spend on a different car that's like kind of sicker than the Camry. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Camrys. I would probably spend some amount of money on a Camry, but I wouldn't buy an old shitty Camry.
You're very close to getting kicked off the Serial Podcast 9 for shit
If I would buy
talking
a Camry, it would be probably like the latest, not like the latest model that I could afford that had the highest horsepower and offered some sort of driving enjoyment.
Like the brand new ones that are two-tone?
No, like I don't know. I like those like 99 ones in the V6, and you know, you could probably put coilovers on it and like some cool wheels or something. But like, anyways, my point is like the daily has to be a certain level because you spend so much fucking time in it.
What's the worst daily you've ever had?
Me?
Yeah.
I had a 2001 Civic that was stock and automatic.
That's not a certain level, Gerard.
I know. I mean, I'm telling you, that was like probably a very low point in my life.
Oh, I've only ever bought 2 dailies, I think. I bought an $800 Volkswagen, which was garbage, and it like the head gasket went, and I just threw it in the garbage. I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't want anything to do with this car.
Yeah.
And then I bought the 4Runner, but I didn't buy the Corolla and I didn't buy the Avalon. I inherited.
Yo, you had an Avalon?
Yeah, I didn't know you had an Avalon.
Yeah, I dailied an Avalon. My dad.
Avalon's like a step up from a Camry, bro.
Yeah, yeah, boys. Yeah, it was like a 97 or a 98 Toyota.
It's just a
Avalon.
2-door Camry, isn't it?
No,
It's
Avalon is a bigger Camry.
Oh, that's the Solera I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really fucking thing.
My dad bought an Avalon, and then when he bought his Prius, I was just like, look, nobody's gonna give you the money that this thing's worth. Just let me drive it. And I drove it, and it was great. Like, it was, what a car. But then Jody got into an accident with it, and then that's when we were like, let's get a Celsior, and that's how I ended up. Like, the Avalon is actually probably part of the reason I started going towards Toyotas. Yo, like, this thing feels way better than my 91 Nissan 180SX. You know, like, it's like, oh shit, like, this is like comfy and has all this shit in it. And then it's like, that thing's just a tin can. Then I got a Celsior, and I was like, this thing's very comfy, but it's not fun. And then the Aristo is the amalgamation of all those. So yeah, that was your worst daily. Oh, man, what was my worst daily? Was the Volkswagen. I guess my best daily would either be the 4Runner or the Avalon, now that I think of it. I don't know. Kevin, what's your worst daily?
I'm living it, buddy. The Echo.
Yeah, you fucking love it though.
No, man, it's literally the worst car I've ever owned.
What's your best daily you've ever had?
Celsior,
Crown.
buddy.
Yeah, Celsius is a pretty dope.
Celsior. No, man. Like, I did like the Celsior once it was lowered and had the exhaust on it, because like when it was lowered without the exhaust, it would just continuously scrape the ground. So once we had done the exhaust, it sounded sick. It was super comfy. You could have a super cool car back then. People didn't really know what to make of it. It had a little bit of camber. That was before it was brown. And yeah, that car then, like, it felt like, yeah, it felt so sick and super cool, and you could just drive it anywhere. Yeah, that was probably the best daily.
What was your race car at the time? That was it.
I feel like that was my only cool car at the time.
I mean, you might have had the Silver X7 sitting in the shop at that point still.
I might have, yeah.
But it was like weren't like doing anything because it had already been smashed, and we were kind of like humming and hawing whether we should like get it fixed or you were going to sell it or.
Yeah, it just didn't really make sense for the company to continue making or like developing that chassis. It was like, that was just like a personal thing. So yeah, I think I just sold that car and continued on with the Celsior.
You stone cold motherfucker. Just getting rid of, just making hot list choices.
I mean, honestly, the same thing kind of happened again, because it's like I was going to build that 171 Crown. It was going to be my car. And then I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to build this car that we've already done all the development on. And like, if I needed to maybe do something more, like I have the Altezza that already has everything done that is the same. Like, it just kind of doesn't make any sense. So like now, now I'm buying an 18 Crown. Like,
You stone cold motherfucker again. So does that mean you have to get rid of both crowns?
I mean, I'd like the Crown to be like Gerard's Blit, like a very nice, well-rounded, competent street car. Whereas, the Altezza, I don't know. I'm like, maybe the Altezza could be there if it had an exhaust, but wasn't pink also. So like, I don't know.
No, it doesn't can't be.
That's what I mean. It can't be there. So
Yeah, no, it's got racing seats, 3-spoke chrome wheels. Like, yeah, no, you'd have to make it so you didn't care about it. Like,
but I mean, is it literally, besides the color, that much crazier than the Blit when it has the wheels on?
well, yes,
I think it is. It's just like
fender flares and your racing seat and the Blit as it sits right now is kind of like I don't even like, no offense, I don't think anyone not in the know would bat an eye at the Blit. The Blit, once it has wheels on it, just looks cool, but it's not like it's still not like, hey, look at me. It's not.
Yeah, I kind of think like that. I mean, I don't really know how much it has to do with the fact that it's a wagon, but it's also just like it has stock aero, and I mean your Altezza has stock aero, but it also has flares, which I mean it's kind of flares is a big commitment. You've like cut the body, you know what I mean? Like there's definitive like drift damage on the car, or drift inflicted wounds. I feel like for me, like a daily has to have like all the lights work, which actually I have a taillight out apparently. All the lights work. Like there's no dents or scratches that are like, didn't happen by accident in a parking lot or some stupid thing, or, you know what I mean? Like, or the fact that the car was just a little bit shitty when you bought it. And maybe the wheels, I mean, my wheels are pretty crazy, but they're also like not, just because like I feel like, it could just drive by 80% of people, and if it wasn't actually like as loud as it is, nobody would even fucking look at that car. It's also white, which is kind of like the most boring, basic, common color.
Your wheels aren't like shiny 3-spoke wheels. Like they don't, like if you don't know what you're paying attention, if you don't know what you're looking for with your wheels, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, like
I think that's kind of the look Gerard is going for too. It's like a bit of like a frosty look, more like a modern look, where it looks nice, but it's not so like
it's not in your face.
None of Gerard's stuff is ever like in your face. I think we've decided is the point. That's Kevin's job.
I'm in your face.
Yeah, watch your back.
Yeah. You want someone in your face? I'm in your face now.
Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah, sorry, to go back to it. So knowing what you know now, like I can't help but think, and I'm sure I've said this to you guys before, like when I was younger, was there a point where Hakusuka GTRs or like any like old school Skyline was like somewhat attainable, like, and I just didn't know about it? Like it was like pre me knowing what the price of those cars would be, like, you know what I'm saying?
Actually, I have a really good one. Yeah, I've mentioned this before. You know how many fucking GTRs I had sitting in my shop and in my parking lot at one point that like were just abandoned because people couldn't pay the bills to like build the motor that blew up after they brought it over here, because they thought like, oh, it's only 100,000 K, but like, you know what I mean? Like none of these cars were tuned. Like 100,000 K is pretty much the service life of an RB26. Like spent all their money on this car, get it here, blows up, bring it to my shop. I'm like, hey, you need a new motor. That's like fucking $6,000. They're like, I don't have that. So I could have just been like, well, shit, let me just buy this for 10K. Like, boom, like a totally mint GTR R32. I had like a crazy HKS dog box GTR 700 horsepower drag thing that I could have probably bought for fucking $2,000 because it just sat in my driveway for months. Like, because the guy was just like, it didn't run and he didn't want to spend any money on it. And it was like some hybrid bullshit Japanese job that like, like you open the hood and it's just like spaghetti of wiring and hoses and like a giant turbo, but like somehow that fucking pile of shit was like incredibly fast. But like, yeah. So I could have bought a bunch of GTRs for basically nothing and just sat on them.
That's the Bitcoin story of like every Canadian car guy. It's like the RX-7 guy that I wanted to have on the RX-7 episode. He's like has a story where they had a shell of an R32 and they like crushed it with a bobcat or like something. They were just like,
because there were so many that were just fucked up.
Yeah.
And, like you can't just keep a like immovable fucking 4-wheel drive car pushing it in and out of the fucking shop all the time. Like it sucks.
That's what I mean. If you had infinite room, like you'd be a millionaire because you know that's that old story. It's like, oh shit, like I had full A86 struts, front brakes, like lower control arms, tension rods, the whole thing. Basically sold all of that for like $90. Then 2 years later, I'm building the TE that has like shitty like one piston two piece calipers with these tiny rotors, and I'm like, man, like I'm just gonna put all A86 stuff on it, and then I have to go out, drive out to meet this guy in Coquitlam and buy it for $250, and it's like, man, like that 1 year of me selling it cost me like $140, and that always happens. You know, you sell something so you can buy something else, and then all of a sudden now later you need it, and that's why now I'm just like this like super crazy hoarder. Like I'm just like refuse to throw anything away.
Everything's mine.
You always need it. No, like it'll come up. You'll be like, oh shit, I need an ABS sensor out of the rear out of a 90 of JZX 90, and you just need that. And like it's like, well shit, like I threw it away or gave it to someone who was a close friend a year ago, but now I need it right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have it.
It's funny too, like we had a pallet of Jay-Z stuff sitting, you know, on our fucking shelf for like what, a decade or some shit. Like
all these blown up.
Yeah, well, it was like we built a bunch of 1.5 J's. So we had, you know, all these 2J NA heads and like 1J turbo bottoms. Like one of them, I swear, had like 40,000 K on it. I think, and then we had, you know, a whole bunch of mid sump and rear sump pans, pickups, oil pumps, like the whole 9 yards, and like just sold the whole lot for $200 because we're like, fuck, we didn't do it this shit. Like it's been sitting here forever. And then sure enough, what do we need for an oil pan? Just the other day, like a rear sump or mid sump, you know, soarer pan, and we're like, oh well, we just basically gave that away. So
the solution to the problem is just gain infinite amount of space
or very good organizational skills.
Yeah.
Or just like have enough money that you don't ever have to fucking sell anything. There's always like sell something to buy something. It's the worst. It's like you never buy what you want. You always buy what you can get because like, yeah, you just never have enough money.
I feel like my last sale was sell something because we have no space. I didn't need to sell the Aristo, but like we just needed the space.
Do you regret selling the Aristo yet?
No.
Yeah, I don't think you.
Because I never insured the Aristo. I never drove the Aristo. I never got to like have any memories in the Aristo.
What was the point of you having the Aristo?
You traded that G for it.
I got rid of the G35 and got the Aristo.
Oh, that's not a bad deal, actually. Because G's are the worst. You don't ever regret though, like you don't. I guess you don't. There's no part of you that ever wanted like a Datsun or anything like that.
No, man. You know how many fucking 510s I looked at? Like, so that's the thing. It's like I don't know, man. I have this weird sort of thing where I love a bunch of cars, but then I just don't buy them. It's the same thing with the JZX 100. Like I was pining over that car forever, and then I, you know, sort of had the opportunity to get one. I guess like it was obviously kind of a bit out of my price range, but I mean, I've had all sorts of fucking cars that are out of my price range. If I really wanted it, I could have got it. But like somehow, you know, I bought an Aristo, or I bought a Verosa, or I bought a fucking Blit, like, you know, and I always wanted a 510, but like I bought a Cortina, or I bought a Volvo, and I bought, you know, like every other car that was so far from that car, maybe just to prove that I could build something that was cooler than the average 510. But at the same time, if I would have had a 510 and I built it, maybe it would have been cooler than every other 510. Just like Toyotas or Nissans or S13s or whatever. It's like, I've never had an S13, but like I could definitely build a pretty fucking sick one. And like, I like them a lot, you know?
Was there ever a point in your life where you considered having an S chassis?
Like I said, in that 2000s era when we were on the Civics, and like I bought a daily again because my Civic was this massive project car. So I bought a daily, which was an 86. And then, like I told you, my buddy had that FC 10th anniversary, super nice Turbo 2. And then my other buddy that we built was one of the first 5-lug swapped that I knew of at the time, 5-lug swapped like S13s. We basically took all S14 shit, including the subframe, which I didn't know actually sort of doesn't really fit, but we did it, made it fit. So, it was an S13 hatch that had, 5-bolt. And at the time, it was like pretty cool Japanese wheels. They were Seneca ROMs, like 17, 8, and 9, white on white. It was like fucking sick. I remember driving that car and thinking, man, this is the shit. And then we had built another SR20 coupe. Same thing, 5-bolt, crazy wheels, crazy, suspension. And I dailied that car for like a week or two. And I was like, man, like this thing's fucking tight. But yeah, at the same time, I just never bought one. So I'd always, like have these fucking weird, obscure, like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the 4x4 too. It's like everyone's buying 4Runners and fucking Land Cruisers. And I'm like, oh yeah, shit, Xterra. Like, yeah, good idea. Like, always, I mean, I don't like always aim to be like different, but clearly that's how I think. And like the fucking QX, same thing. Like, why wouldn't I buy like a Sequoia or like a fucking Tundra or like even a fucking Titan or something? You know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm buying the QX. It's like, yeah, okay.
I feel like you're always about the value, though. You always are searching for like the best value, I find.
Yeah, it's because I don't have enough money.
That's why it was like, it was like the Pinto and like the Cressida and the Xterra and now like the G35 and like the QX or whatever that thing is called.
Yeah, exactly.
The Patrol.
I guess that's the thing too. Is like, yeah, exactly. It's
like what with the world? I don't know, because like it's like when like we talked about in the truck thing, when you lay it all out, it's like, Ryan, you got a pretty good deal on your truck, right? Like, I think.
Sure. Yeah, like 6,200 or something like that for a 4Runner.
Yeah, but I feel like honestly today, what's that truck worth?
Probably more now.
Yeah, I don't feel like exactly. I don't feel like the stretch from like what Gerard's truck cost him to like what like a very nice example of your truck is worth is even that far apart. And like to me, that's why
yeah.
Like that's what Gerard is always looking for, and it makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's the thing.
Look what you're getting versus look what like someone else is getting.
Yeah, and I mean, but that's the thing is like maybe that's the thing that I'm sort of a bit over. Like, I want to buy the car that I want to buy instead of buy the car that to spend X amount of money on a JZX 100 just seems ludicrous to me. It's like, why are you fucking spending $20,000 on a car that's like, it's a fucking $7,000 car? Like, I mean, I like the car. I maybe I'd want to have one day, but like, it takes the like fun out of the fucking thing. It's like, I want to beat my car up. I want to shit kick it. I want to drive it. Like, but now it's like this gem that like you don't really want to do. Like, when talking to Ashcon the other day, he's like, man, like, yeah, I wanted to go drifting in this car, but like seeing the value now, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, I could sell this car, fucking put a down payment on the house and buy a drift car. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
if that Aristo was a 100, the feelings about putting it into that wall would probably be a lot different, and like the amount of work that you'd be willing to do to fix that car would be a lot different too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So here's a few things. One, I'm glad that we finally got. I feel like from the get-go, I've always wanted you guys to say that 100s are radically overpriced for what they are, and sometimes I really bait you to say it, and like that's when I get Kevin saying the answer that's like, it's worth whatever someone wants to pay for it. But I'm glad that. No, it's happened. It's already said.
No, I still agree with it. It's the same thing. It's like maybe the R34 GTR is a $90,000 car, but it's not a $250,000 car.
Yeah, no, agreed.
And if you're paying $250,000, you're not going to drive it like it's a $90,000 car. And
Yeah.
you're paying $50,000 for your JZX. You're not going to drive it like it's an $11,000 car.
Right.
Yeah.
Treat it like it, you know?
And I mean, that's the thing, value for value. It's like, okay, so my Blit was a bit more work, but like I have a JZX that's a fucking wagon that like has a 6-speed, and you know, now it's going to have like a standalone and a, you know, turbo upgrade and, you know, all this shit. And it's like a fraction of the cost of a 100, like a fraction. And it's like, you can't tell me that a fucking R154 equipped, like semi clapped out JZX 100 with like, give me any fucking brand arrow. I don't give a fuck what kind of arrows on it. It's not worth 25 grand, or it's not, you know, compared to my JZX 110 that, I mean, maybe I'm just a wagon guy, but like it has a fucking, it's a wagon, dude. Like that's like sick. You know what I mean? Like a JZX wagon, that's fucking sick.
I do love that at the end of the day, it always comes down to how much the container can hold. Like actually for Gerard, it's like I could put a bike in the back of this thing.
I mean, that's just it. I carry my BMX around all the fucking time. Before, when I had my Arista, I had to disassemble the bike and put it in the front seat and all sorts of shit. And it's like, now I want to bring a bike, I just chuck it in the back. Fucking sweet. I put wheels in the back, like, you know, it might handle marginally different than a sedan would. I don't know, but like, I don't give a fuck. It looks cool and it's practical.
So Bobby Hundreds of the Hundreds, the brand, like the streetwear brand, has a DeLorean, and someone asked him, and it was like, how often do you drive this? This was a few years ago. And the answer was like, I drive it like once or twice a week. And when the novelty of driving a DeLorean starts to wear off, I stop driving the car. I never want the novelty to wear off.
Yeah, that seems fair.
That is fair. That's exactly it. Like the novelty of
I really hoped what you were gonna say was he drives it from time to time.
Out of time. Oh man.
And I'm out. Goodbye. Good night.
I mean, honestly, like even so I got the Blit. It's fairly stock, but even the suspension's pretty aggressive and it's like fucking pretty loud. And I mean, it's definitely like a novelty car. Like I do daily it, and like obviously maybe everyone's level of, you know, daily aggressiveness is different. And I feel like maybe I can have a fairly aggressive daily. But I mean, there are definitely times when I'm just like, I just want to drive the truck and like fucking D for done, turn my brain off, take my shoes off and like fucking crank the beats and just glide home. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree. I feel like there's multiple different cars that have multiple different feelings, and they have their own sort of harshness or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like when I drive the fire truck, it's not super loud, and it's you know it's just you have to do 5 gear changes to get going 50K.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't blow heat in the winter in the morning till I'm already at work. Like it's not warmed up till I'm already at work. So like there's those, you know, there's those things where that makes me not want to drive it. But then then all of a sudden I'm driving the Altezza and the suspension's really stiff and it's super loud. And it's like, well, that makes me not want to drive that car for those reasons. And like, you know, there's always something.
That's why it's like, yeah, it's always a fine line.
And then you drive the completely normal Camry and you feel it like your soul's getting sucked out.
Yeah.
And you have no personality.
Yeah.
What did I say about shit talking Camrys? You want to be on this podcast? No. That was my issue when I had the Celsior. The Celsior was the only car, and it was fine to drive every day, to put in, you know, D for done. And there was a few like headache things about it, but it was fine until I went out with all my car friends and they were doing like rad shit. And then I was like, oh, I just got a sofa on wheels that like, you know, like when your friends are driving like Skylines and S chassis and FDs and they're ripping around and you're like, well, I'm just really comfortable right now, you guys. Like it's not.
Have you felt my headrest? Like it's sick. Like
yeah.
Yo, man, check out my sunshade. It goes up and down.
Yeah. Who wants a back massage from these rear seats? You know, like it was fine. Like that was the novelty of that car. It was fine on like the day to day, but yeah, like I do get that. It's like you have all these cars for different.
That's kind of one of the cool things about the QX, and that's like one of the biggest things I love about it is the fact it's fucking fast. So it's like, yeah, you want to get in your like comfy, slush box car, but then you hit the gas and it's like, and you're like, oh fuck, like this thing's actually quite exciting. And I guess that's the Nissan aspect. The steering's weighted, it's pretty good, for a truck, and it's, it's a 7-speed or whatever, and it rips. And it's like, you can actually still get the excitement of the Blit. In fact, I bet you the truck is fucking faster than the Blit right now. And it's like infinitely more comfortable, and it's just cruisy cruise, put the beats on, and it's super quiet inside. I mean, I could probably put an exhaust on it and like make it sound cool outside and still be quiet inside, but like, or just not, you know what I mean? But yeah, like if that truck wasn't fast, I would love it significantly less. Like significantly less.
I will say, after driving it for a bit, the only real, there are the Nissan-isms of that thing for sure. Right? Like your sun visor has that like, it like falls down.
I don't even know how that would have happened in the first place, but yeah, that's like, it's a giant piece of shit. And it's like, it's so irritating. Anyways.
Yeah. And like, especially it was like super hot out. So it like kept doing it. And then like, your shifter, like a little bit of like the black plastic has worn off to like the plastic underneath. And that is the Nissan-ism of that vehicle, right?
Yeah.
The only real complaint I actually had about it though is just the gas. Like that at the end of the day, it was just like the game that I was most occupied with in that thing was like trying to get the best fuel economy out of it.
You know what's funny? So the funniest part, after I got that truck back, I drove it and I'm like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with my truck? And then because I was driving with Alex in the car, and I'm like, man, my truck feels different. Maybe I just haven't driven it in a while, but like it would like fucking never downshift. And I'd like, be 20-30% throttle, and it still wouldn't downshift and stuff. And I guess it just learns after a while. Like, so you probably after driving it fun for a day or two, probably drove it really conservatively for the rest of the like week and a half or whatever. And I get in and I'm just like, what the fuck's wrong with my truck? And then so I just shit kicked it for that night, and then now it just feels normal again. But yeah, I totally just learned the like super slog shifting and like lugging the engine. Yeah, it was hilarious.
That is pretty funny. No, I mean, I was driving someone else's truck that was awful on fuel economy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be like pretty careful with this, and not like, I didn't need to like, I wasn't like, I'm going to romp on it. Like there were points where I was like I said, I used it to like make that dude in his BMW convertible very mad. But like, yeah, all in all, like great thing. I just like, it's honestly is just that is the one thing that, and it gets me. I'm not saying the 4Runner is any better. It's just like the gas is not getting cheaper.
No, it's horrendous on gas. And I do admit that my truck particularly is probably worse than a normal example, because I think the cats perhaps are a bit clogged. But yeah, those vehicles, even in their best form, are not good on fuel.
Yeah.
There's always a price to pay, right?
Yeah, I don't know what car is fully the happy medium, like I don't actually think there is.
Taycan from Sport Turismo.
We haven't brought that up in a while.
The wagon, it's electric and it's fast as fuck and it looks sick.
But it's not affordable.
Yeah, I guess you have to be rich to afford it.
Yeah, so you have to be rich to have the good things, right? Like that's the thing. It's like,
isn't that life though? That is actually life.
Yeah, I don't want that to be life, but that's the QX is a good thing. It's comfy. It has all these cool features, but then you're paying for it in gas. You're paying for it in fuel, and fuel's not getting cheaper.
I mean, maybe not if it learns and then you drive.
Yeah, that's true. I think the funniest part is like when my wife drives that thing, it gets like, pretty decent, like, better than my fuel economy. And I was always arguing like, no, like when I drive it normal, like it gets way better fuel economy. But I'm like thinking in my head after that, I'm like, my normal is clearly not everybody else's normal. So I can't get fucking any kind of fuel economy out of that thing.
No, you can't. I'm not surprised by that though, by any means, that you don't get any.
I don't think I've ever purchased a vehicle based on fuel economy.
No, but the Echo is probably really good on it, isn't it? Like the
Yeah,
Echo
no,
probably outperforms everybody's daily for fuel economy.
It's always on my mind. I don't base things on it, but I definitely like. I'm cognizant of it. But just, I mean, it is what it is.
It
Yeah,
is what it
sucks,
is.
but like, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
I mean, there are things.
You can buy a more efficient.
Yo, you know what we could do? We'll do that National Don't Buy Gas Day, because that'll really help them, because you'll just buy gas the day before or the day after to make up for the Don't Buy Gas Day, right?
What just happened?
My chair broke.
What the fuck just happened? Oh my god. Oh my god. Is it broken?
Yeah, the chair is done. Ah, shit. Hello?
Oh my god, that was so funny. I watched that whole thing happen.
I know. I was like, what's going on? He just like fell off the screen.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, goddamn.
How many more of those chairs do you have?
One more, because they've
And you're
all
on it right
broken.
now?
Yeah, and it's already in shambles. Like nobody's sitting there because it's like.
If you fall on that one tonight, I'm gonna fucking die.
It's gonna be an interesting episode.
Yo, hey Gerard.
Yo,
So that Volvo is
One.
that like the one that you were like, I should have bought the TE. That guy like screwed you out of that car. You never even got that, right?
no, I never got that car. Yeah, the story was. So I don't know how this guy ended up with this car. It was, an Esplanade in North Van, Ryan.
Yep.
It's like a pretty big car district. And obviously as a teenager, I was like enthralled. I went there one time because I had a Volvo GT at the time and I got some work done. Because, Volvo shops are kind of weird and like, obscure. So I go there and there's this dude who's like pretty crazy. And this car was sitting at the back of his shop and it was like orange. And I remember seeing there's like an ATL fuel cell poking out from like under the bumper. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh, that's a race car that like is abandoned sort of. And so we struck a conversation and we're like, okay, like, I'm like, go and look at it. And like, it's literally like, it's like looking at a fucking space shuttle to me when I was 16. Like it had like those tubular sway bars with the splines that were like, like race car shit. And like it had 7 sets of like widened steelies and 15 and 14 and like slicks. And like, dude, the whole cage was TIG welded, which is pretty crazy in itself. And this is like I was 60. This was like 1996 or something, right? The cage was so well done that like the top like roll hoop was TIG welded to the fucking roof skin. And like, I don't even know how you do that. Like, I'm sure Dustin could probably do it, but like, it wasn't warped or anything. And the car had been widened. So the rear fenders were 4-inch wider per side. But like, when you looked at, like, you've seen a Volvo, it's literally just like arrow straight. So like, if you pop the trunk and look at, how when you look at the wheel arches, you could see the 4-inch sort of like tapered piece that they had welded in. And the body was just widened at the fenders, like, I don't know, it was so crazy, dude. And it had like an IPD hood, trunk, fenders, door skins, perspex. Every window was perspex except for the fucking the windshield. And it had those like sliding windows for those are so sick, right?
Those are the sickest.
Imagine seeing that as a fucking kid and just being like, I could fucking own that. He's like, yeah, it has no drivetrain, but like we could just put together like a 1.8 liter fucking carb, whatever. It'd probably only have 200 horsepower. I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck, man. I want that car. Had all these spares. So I went there. He's like, yeah, just come and like, we agreed on a price. And he's like, just come and like do some work on it and shit. And like, I was like, yeah, I was there every fucking weekend. I'd wash it and he'd be like, okay, you got to do this and like fucking organize all these parts. So I did that for like 4 weekends or whatever. And on the 5th weekend, I go there and the thing's on a flat deck driving away. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? And he actually had been arrested for fraud. And I didn't know at the time, but the guy was like a fucking huge drug addict and had like basically taken all these people's money and like was probably going to take my money. And was just basically like embezzling all this fucking money and like was just a giant piece of shit guy basically. And so that car just fizzled out. And yeah, I lost out on the TE. I lost out on like a really sick Westwood Mango that was like really, really nice. I could have bought any of these fucking really cool cars, but like I was saving up for this really special Volvo. And yeah, so that was a bit of a bitter end. I ended up seeing the car later. Like it wasn't even that long ago, maybe like 10 years ago. I remember seeing it downtown. It wasn't driving, but it was in this like parked garage thing. And I talked to this dude and he's like, oh yeah, like it just kind of floated around for a while and then we kind of put it together. It looked like shit because like
the one that got away. Yeah, this chair is gonna fucking break. It's going. I can feel it. I'm gonna sit right on the edge. I'm gonna eat shit on this chair too. Kevin, we've never asked this. Why did you buy the Subaru?
Maybe I was trying to buy the practical car or something. I don't know. I was like, oh, it's a wagon and it's like kind of big and like, yeah, I don't know. It was like Japanese. I thought it'd be cool. It seemed like it would be good. I don't know. Yeah, it seemed like it was a good idea at the time.
It just seems like a weird jump from a dude that like loves Toyotas to be like.
I mean, I remember you were like you needed like a daily.
I literally sold my X7 daily to someone and was like riding a 70s road bicycle to like work, where I would basically do physical work all day and then ride it like 15 kilometers or more home. So I was like, man, I just need like any car, basically. And in hindsight, I should have just bought the cheapest Toyota I could have bought, and it would have been fine. Like, but it is what it is, and I learned a lesson. I don't know.
There you go, lesson learned. Never buy a Subaru.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, like I ask all these questions, like, oh, there's no car you would have wanted to buy when you were younger that you couldn't have now, because like I've went through that. I was like 8.6 probably would have been a very inexpensive car, but then I would have been a very different person if I would have started in an 8.6. I think it would have vastly changed the way that I look at cars.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could have afforded any car with like the hindsight, if you will. You know what I mean? Like you could have, like any of us could have, whatever, an R34, an FD, a Supra.
Yeah,
you know, if that's what you really wanted at that, and you were willing to hold on to it throughout, because you know, I don't know, I've had Corollas, I've had AEs, I've had TEs, you know.
I mean, the hindsight of it for me is I'd would have rather, knowing what I know now, would probably like an 8.6 would have been a cooler car than a Mazda MX-3. Like now, knowing that, or having like an old Datsun, or having like one of those things back then, it maybe wouldn't have made sense contextually, but then like probably in the long run it would have made sense. But yeah, I guess you don't end up in the same place, because we've had that thing where it's like I've said you and Gerard are the only two people that I know that have ever escaped Corolla-isms. And like I feel like if you have a Corolla, like if you become a Corolla guy, it's pretty hard to get away from being a Corolla guy. So I just,
but I mean, like,
have an 8.6.
I mean, maybe it's a time thing, man, you know, because like I've escaped Corollas, but I haven't escaped Toyota, and like Gerard's escaped both.
I mean, sort of. My daily's a Toyota.
One of your dailies is a Toyota. All right. Well, I think that's probably a lot. And I fell out of my chair, and now my foot's a little sore, which is weird. I don't know what's going on.
If you have more than $10,000 in the bank,
Sorry. Idiot.
I don't have more than $10,000 in the bank, so that does not apply to me. Yeah, all right.
That's why they're targeting Gerard with these ads.
Gerard, you know? Yeah, they got the right guy. You got more than 10,000 cars in your parking lot.
You got more than 10,000 horsepower in your stable. Yo, you ever drive your car through the Hollywood Hills and think to yourself, I wish I had more than $10,000 in the bank right now?
I don't even know what's the theme of this actual episode. We just
Fuck, I
literally
don't know.
talk about
When
it.
car guys talk at night,
Yeah,
party line.
party line.
You wanna
I'll
talk some
figure it
shit?
out. So
Right.
what's a takeaway? I guess no regrets. Well, me, I feel like I spent a lot of time mulling over all that I could have had.
Well, you better just make it not could have, but like make it happen now.
All right, here's the takeaway. Exactly what Gerard just said. Like, instead of wishing what you could have had, just try and make what you have now the best it could be.
I hear what you're saying, but my takeaway is let's build a fucking time machine.
Yeah.
All right, with
All the
that,
time.
well, thanks for listening.
Okay, peace out.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.